should be good to go. So I'm gonna mute that for now. Huh, is it picking up that? That's pretty dope. Alright, Don. Well, you're gonna watch me just work on my game, bro. Got big boy Don. Listen, put this down here. For now, we'll turn off the Elgato. What?
No, I just sprayed. You know how Percy is with a spray.
Yeah.
She just look at me like, I'll run, bro. Okay.
Stream chat, turn off for now. Alright, it should be good to go. But what is up, everybody? And welcome back to some more game development stuff. Let me see. So today, I'm going to be doing a couple things. Mainly working on one of our more important guys, which is going to act as our enemy variant. So I already have him set up over here. What I'm going to do is just like recreate him just from scratch so we can see how this works. We're going to get his stuff working. We're going to write up the script. And then possibly stats are another thing I have to work on, but that's a whole different ball game. But let's go ahead. Let's pull this in. Let me see. We could close that. Low poly packs, medieval, orcs and trolls. Oh, these are all guys. Okay. Let's pull that out. Why are we lagging? What's going on here? Ah, we're on low battery. That. Just realized that. There we go. Did I not just plug you in? There we go. Okay, now it's charging. Okay, what the heck's going on here? There we go. A lot smoother. Alright, so we're going to pull this guy out. He's going to act as our war chief. For now, let me see. Oh, double focus. Alright, I don't really want isometric view here. So, let's see. So to make our enemy variant here, got this guy. I guess it'd be better to show the example first, but here's our guy. He has his normal stuff, his AI, his enemy stats, but we also have this new warlord buff. So basically any troop, I should say, because it's not going to even just be an orc, but any troop that's in this range is going to get some buff to their, I want to do a health buff and a damage buff. But for that to happen, let me see. I'm gonna wanna say, yeah, we could still use this guy over here. Goblin character. Alright. I guess we don't gotta make him from scratch, but it would look better. AI. Stats. What does he need? Nav mesh agent. Animators up there. Other than that, inside of this warlord buff, matter of fact, we should just do this. We got him. We'll play this so we can see how this plays out. What we also will do is stop the game, or pause it, I should say, so we can check this frame by frame. Give that a minute to load. I got a lot of scripts going in here now. Alright, we're just gonna load. What's going on here? Alright, pause. Again. Okay, so yeah, I did add a particle effect to this guy, but this is essentially our buffed area. It's whatever's in here. But right now, I think I have it where the health and the damage will be affected. So if we look at this Goblin Warrior, and then what we can do, let's keep his, we're gonna look at his damage. For now, we'll focus on that. So if we go ahead and push this forward a couple frames, let these guys get close. I'm actually going to pull this guy over here. Will it show? No, because it hasn't run yet, technically. Keep an eye on the damage. As soon as he gets in, that damage doubles, basically. So let's see, if I move him back out, we'll see the damage go back to 15. But when he's in it, it's 30. Same with the health. The health, I think I did manage to get the health going a little bit. So let me see. I'm going to put his health at a 50. So that's his current health. Go ahead and drag him in. And if I frame by frame, you'll see he'll start to gain health. So let me see. Even if I unpause it. 54, 56, 58. So that goes up. And to get that working, let's go ahead and let's open up our script. Open up Visual Studios. It wasn't too long. I did want this to be its own little separate script though. So this is its own left alone. I was going to add it into the enemy stats, but for a majority of the, I want to say the projectile shooters that we're going to have, those are going to be edited inside the enemy stats, whereas this, it has its own thing. Very similar to what you'll see, I have a necromancer in the works as well. Let's see, we'll give this a minute to open. I love that it drags, that's the best part. Let's see, project. Let's go ahead, we'll go close this. Enemies, Warlord buff. Alright, so this is our Warlord buff script. Let's go ahead and see what's going on inside of it. If we zoom in, all I have inside of here right now is just how far I want that to actually be affected. So I just have it at a 5 for now, which I think is good. We have a cooldown. This is more or less for the health part. But basically, I'm just using on-trigger events for this. So if something enters the trigger and it's tagged as the enemy, what we're going to do is grab that enemy AI script off of the other enemy. Of course, this is going to be the one with our damage. And we're just basically adding 15 to it. I haven't tested it out yet. These are still scheduled to change. What I actually can do, could add in an additional, let's say public, float, we'll say damage, buff. That would be ideal. And for now, we just set this to be 15. Alright, come down here, change this to damage, buff. So that way that we can always change that inside of there. We should probably make one for the health actually too. So we'll say public float, health, buff. And then for now, I'll do 1 per second. So we already know the on-trigger event enter. So it's only going to be happening 1 time. And then what we'll do, I'll close this for now. The on-trigger exit event, I have it basically undoing what I just did. So we can actually change this back to damage buff because we just made a variable for that. So we have, whenever that enemy leaves, it's going to change that back, subtract whatever we buff, so then he won't have that anymore. We have just a draw gizmos down here, just to actually see that buff radius. And then for the health, I'm using an on-trigger stay event. Inside of here, it's checking if whatever's in that bounds, whatever's in that buff radius, if it's tagged as enemy. If so, this is where we have our cooldown implemented. Basically, it's going to be doing the same thing that our on-trigger enter does, but with a cooldown effect. It's checking to see if our current health, or if the enemy's current health, is ever less than the max health. If so, it's going to go ahead and start adding, instead of 2, we'll just put health buff. There we go, so we can change that, but it's going to be adding to the current health. And then, like I said, we can change that whenever we get out. But a pretty short script, nothing too crazy being used here, which I thought was cool. Oh, I'm done. Let me see. I'm gonna actually remove, I guess, the camera. We don't need the camera. There we go. So that we can see the whole script. But anywho, we have our variables up at the top here for the radius, the damage, and the health. These are just going to be interchangeable. I do like the 5 being a very minimal buff zone. The damage and health I'm probably going to change though. That for certain. Basic on trigger event, just seeing if that enemy has or if the other object that enters the trigger has an enemy tag. If so, we're just going to grab that AI script off of them. Remember, the AI is where our damage is being dealt. This is the whole like playing, or the enemy following the player, attacking, and so on and so forth. Let's see, but that's the on trigger event. We're just going to add that 15 to them. Our Private Void on trigger stay. This is what I used for the health. Same thing, we're checking if it's an enemy. I have a little bit of a cooldown here though. In addition to that, it's checking if our current health is less than the max health, because we don't want these guys to go over our necessary health. And I'm pretty sure our enemy AI script prevents that as well, or our enemy stats, one or the other. But checking to see if our current health is less than the max health, or the enemies in this case. If so, it's gonna update that cooldown time and add health. And then if for some reason that, you know, we killed a warlord or he walks off too far, we're just going to remove that damage buff that we have. And then we have our draw gizmos to actually see the buff radius. Pretty straightforward script. Trying to do this backwards actually. I tried using a list. That didn't work too much for me. But other than that, we come back inside of here now, and we can see our updated finished model. We got him. So now we have that radius. So you'll see as we change this, that initial radius changes. I think even 4, I don't know. We'll toy with it a bit, but I like that at 5. We'll do a plus 10 damage buff. 1 health per second. Attack cooldown. So technically this would count as the regen cooldown. So I think every second he gains health. I don't think we want to put it at something low, because then if I put it at like, let's see, put it at a crazy number, so 0.01. I think that might be cool. Let's check out our shaman. No, that's the next guy we're going to be doing. So we have just one of our warriors. I'm going to move you a little closer. Let's keep an eye on your damage for right now. So same thing, pause, play the game, so we can see this in action again. In addition to that white sphere that you saw, the green one is what's acting as the trigger for now. So right now his damage is 15. Put him in the ring. Damage because 25, because we had the plus 10 this time around. For now, I'm going to put his health at 1. I want to see what happens when we unpause this. So let's see. Oh, geez. Yeah, no, he just goes up. Mad quick. Okay. So then we might lower that, or leave that at what we had then. So let me see, our shaman, or war chief, the shaman's going to be the projectile thrower. Leave this at a 1 second. So every 1 second, this guy will get, I guess we could leave it at 2 health. He'll get 2 health while he's in that area. All I did additionally to that, I just threw on this cool particle effect that I also got from the Cinti SS. It looks pretty cool. I could change the color if I want to. I really want to see how this is going to look on the terrain. But this is what's happening. This is how we know that aura. I'm trying to think. I feel like it'd be good to keep this on instead of like fading in and out. But that's it for our buff player actually. Let's see. In addition to that, we also want to start working on this projectile thrower. So this is going to be something totally different. So for now, what we'll do, let's pull our projectile thrower. Put this guy back in the ring. You can go with the rest of the orcs. Put you right like there. Alright, anywho. But we have this guy now. This guy is going to act as our projectile thrower. So essentially what I want to have, let me see if I could open up Google and draw this out. For this guy, I want him to be able to stand away from the player while also being throwing projectiles. So we'll have our normal player just, that's a drawing. So we'll just have our player in the middle, right? We have a normal player. Remember, we do have that radius. That is the stopping distance. So maybe, what's like a safe? I'd say another 5 meters. Or if not, 8, we'll double it. But basically, if that shaman's in that zone, that stopping distance, he'll be able to throw, I want to say, some sort of bottle. I want to kind of have like a poison bottle. I'm not sure if we have the assets for that. But for now, he'll just be throwing a normal bullet until we could get the next part going. So, we already have our shaman, so we could go ahead to open up the AI script. So this is what we're going to have to be adding to. So then what we'll probably have, we have our stopping distance, we have our damage. Stopping distance for now, This is the enemy AI script. I don't want to change overall, so we'll leave that alone. We're gonna need a new variable for the game object that we're gonna want to throw. So we'll say public game object, and then this is just gonna be our projectile. Okay, and save that. So the projectile is good. We're probably gonna want to go down. Yeah, so we do want to have a cooldown. So we'll put it in our attack function here. And we're actually gonna update this. So we're no longer gonna want the, oh, wait a minute. I don't want to take that out. Nor do I want him. Let me see, what did I do for, I started working on the necromancer, but for him, I just duplicated the script. So that's what I'll do for our enemy AI then. So then let me take this. We're gonna be creating a brand new script, but I don't want to start making just like multiple derivative, I don't know if that's the correct word, multiple derived scripts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to duplicate this, and what we will do once this loads is come back in here. We're going to rename this to our Shaman AI so that we know that's there. Inside of here, we're also going to change this to Shaman AI. Wait a minute. This is our normal AI script. So that's fine. We could leave that as is. It's our Shaman. Let's open this. This is the Shaman AI. So then we'll update this to say Shaman AI. There we go. Save that. Now those names line up, so we shouldn't have any issues. Our AI normal is good. We don't want to mess with that yet. Warlord buff we can close. I did start working on the shooting and the gun script, but that's going to be for a whole different episode. Let me think though. So gun script, you can go shooting. This was for the player. So what I'll do for now, we're going to actually use some of this code from here. So we're going to put our game object back for the projectile. What we can do, we no longer want him to do damage if he's within that zone. So we're going to remove these two lines because we're not going to be damaging him. What we are going to be changing though, let me see, animation can be fine, attack time. So what we can do, we call this, we can take our game object. I like doing it a little backwards because we're able to allow, or to add a couple more. We'll do it normally, so we'll just instantiate for now. So instantiate the, I want to say, this is going to be our projectile. So projectile, we're going to need a transform as well. So let's go ahead and let's add that. We'll say public transform with a capital T. And we'll call this our shoot point, just for simplicity reasons. Alright, come back down here, inside of our instantiation, after the projectile, so we're spawning the game object. We're going to want it to come out of the shoot points dot transform dot position. And we're also going to want it to do probably the same rotation, so fire point. Technically it's shoot point. I'm looking at the other script. Shoot point dot, is this a transform? Since this is a transform, we technically don't need the transform dot position because it's already identified as one. And then we could just say rotation for this. That shouldn't give us any issues. Okay, that's just spawning the projectile. Now we have to get access to the rigid body that would be attached to it. So then, yeah, we would want to do this then. We'll make an additional variable for this. So we'll say game object, and we'll say projectile, not vial. We'll just say vial for now, or jar, because that's technically what he's going to be shooting. And we're setting that jar to be our projectile. what we can do after that is go ahead and say we're gonna grab the rigid body off of it, off of the jar. Rigid body, and then we'll just say RB. Let's give it a simple variable name. Our jar, we're gonna grab its component, gonna grab the rigid body off of it, and then off of that rigid body, we're gonna add force. I wanna say, no, not that. Shoot point. It really just wants. There we go. Okay, shoot point. Dots. Let's see what other options we have. Forward, up. We can try up for now. We'll see how this works. So we'll say up, and then we're gonna have to make a new variable for the throw force, and then we're gonna apply some new force, if I could spell correctly. I'm gonna impulse it out. All right, and then we have an error here. Simple fix. Generate a private vector. No, we don't want it to be a vector. We want it to be a float, technically. So we'll throw it after here. We'll say public float throw force. And then for now, we'll just set this to be like 20. Okay. So now, when that distance is less than the stopping distance, we're going to stop him and we're going to attack. Now in this new attack method, we still have the cooldown, and then we additionally have him throwing the jar. So we're creating a new variable for a jar. We're setting it to be the instantiated or the cloned projectile. Coming out of our shoot point position and rotation, we are grabbing the rigid body that we're going to actually have on our part here. Let me see, and then we're gonna add force to our actual projectile. Pretty straightforward. Update on close, yeah, we'll do that. Close that, save that. That should be good for now. We could also close shooting. Minimize, let's come back in here. Are they gonna be able to punch people in the throat? No, sir. No punching in the throat in this game. That would be very, very cold-blooded. Alright, so we have our shaman, and then we'll see inside, we're going to remove his enemy AI script, and we're going to add the new shaman AI script, which, remember, is just another version of the enemy AI. I could have done this a little bit easier and made, just like I did for the character stats, make like a derived script coming from everything, but can't do that. Let's see, so he has an animator. We don't have the projectile or the shoot point yet, so then what we can do, create the shoot point on him first. I hate when it does that. It changes my camera to isometric. Come over here. Shaman. Open up his root. Hips. I'm just gonna kind of throw this empty game point on his hand. So let me think. Right shoulder, elbow, hand. All right. So what I can do is create a new empty game object, and we'll call this our shoot point. Like a spell. Click our shaman. Throw our shoot point under here. Now we got to work on the projectile for him. Close that. We can save our game. For his projectile, I think I should city assets medieval. I should have like some sort of vial. Let's see, prefabs. Props. Bless the guy who sneezed in the back. Damn, you could hear the sneeze all the way back there?
Huh?
You could hear the sneeze all the way back there?
Yeah, I sneeze pretty loud sometimes.
That's tough. I gotta put a new filters on my stuff to avoid that. Let me think. There's a lot of cool stuff there. What's up?
Are you gonna be able to punch people in the throat?
I said no.
Why not?
Because why would you punch a guy in the throat, bro? For now, this will be our projectile. Looks like an acid projectile.
Made her day.
Who?
I said whoever gave her that bone,
Uh-huh.
they made her day.
Hmm.
So all you should, I'm saying though, is your camera on?
No, camera is off.
Ready? You gotta be able to, like.
Yeah? That's what you wanted to do?
Percy, that's not your bone. If I catch that
Our
bone,
projectile.
you're off.
Alright, so now that we have the projectile, we're gonna go ahead and add a rigid body onto this. That's gonna allow us to add some gravity to that. This guy, I guess we could just name this to like Shaman Poison Vial. Okay, override, let's apply that to that. So now what we can do is click on our Shaman and drag in, okay, I was about to say, why is it white? Could drag in this new projectile. Boom, bottle number 4. All right, so then what we can do from there, let's go ahead and test this out. I'm gonna delete this. We have a rigid body on it. We have him, let's see, apply our changes to that. Let's move you back because you're stopping distance. So it's set at a 2 right now. I'm gonna set it to like a 5, give him a radius, right? And then what we can do is just move you back for now. And then let's go ahead and play the game and let's see if we can get this guy shooting stuff. Alright.
I'm not leaving, boss. Come on.
Let's see. So the Shaman gets close. Ooh, okay. So there that bottle goes. It's just going in the wrong direction.
Okay.
Alright.
Look at her. Look at her. It didn't even take a minute for me to leave the room.
Alright. What is going on with this guy? So his throw point. Alright, so how long? We can deal with this though. Attack cooldown, we'll put it at 3 seconds. Let's hide the rest of our orcs. I'm not really trying to see y'all. The only one I want is the Shaman. Alright, so now we could focus on this guy. What is this? We just got an error. Animator is not playing. Animator, non-convex mesh collider is a non-kinematic rigid body. Okay, I don't really care about that. It's not too big of an issue. But we go ahead, play this again. Close. Ah, the Necromancer. Get out of here, man. You're messing up my job. We have to time it. So how long is the animation? Let's figure that out. So animator. Are you a pro game developer? I'm far from pro. I'll say that. I'm far from pro, but I'm up there, man. But thank you for dropping by, man. Welcome to the stream.
Who dropped there?
Let's see. So speed. I want to see how long this is, though. How many frames? Okay, it's about a second for the whole animation to play out. It's 1 second. It's 1 and 11 seconds. So then what we can do is change the Shaman's projectile time. Let's see, Shaman. Let's go ahead and change your cooldown. So we'll say what, 1.10. It is a float, so that should register correctly. Let's see, let's close this. Let's go ahead then, turn that up. Go here. And then now he should be a little bit more on tact. Obviously it's gonna take some changing, so let's see. So the projectiles are shooting out, they're just shooting out in the wrong direction. So you can see it. A bunch of clones. And then obviously we would add some additional stuff to the actual projectile so that once it lands or, you know, collides with something, it spawns that that poison. But for now, we'll leave him as is. See. Okay, so what if put it like a 0.5? That's gonna take some just trial and error, so I'm gonna have to figure that one out on my own. Oh. Okay. Okay. Kinda. Nah, then he loses track. Alright. But for now, we got our projectile guy kind of working for the most part. We can stop that one. Let's put the Shaman back with the orcs. And then let's turn the orcs back on. So now, Shaman, somewhat working. Could pull you over here. So the normal trolls, so these are just going to be like my base guys, right? I think that's going to be the interesting part, is doing the spawning system for these guys. But for right now, these are my normal guys. Their stats are pretty basic. Their controllers are different. Let me see, current health. So max health will still be 100, score will be 50, damage will be 15, stopping distance will be at a 2. Okay, so they're set. So I'm gonna definitely have to toy with some of these guys later on. This guy especially. And then of course this guy. But that's gonna be a whole different like world of animations. One thing I do want to implement now, I guess ideally we should be able to do it. I want to have it where these guys are able to automatically choose their own animator controller. That's a little bit harder, but what we can do, because I know I did this with something else. Desktop, Unity, projects. This I did in my zombie project. So if we open up our assets, scripts, this would technically be their version of enemy AI. So let me see, enemy stats, enemy, I think it's just enemy. Yeah, I had this additional chunk that we're gonna use. And this is actually paired with an additional script on top of that. So what we can do actually, come in the, where is it, animator controller list, here we go. This is the big one that we're gonna want. And this is a scriptable item in itself. So what we can do, or what I can do actually, I'm gonna let that there. So the animator controller list, let me open up my project. We're just gonna bring in these scripts from our old one. Let me see, 'cause I know I did this. So let's put this in our scripts. Once we're in here, enemy, and then what's this? This is technically gonna be a new enemy script. So we'll say a new C# script. And we'll call this our, why don't I just bring it in? That might be easier, save us some time. We'll go over the script together, but for the main part, yeah, let's go ahead and delete that. Call this in, pull in our animation controller. Why don't you want to come in? What's going on here? Animator controller. There we go. All right. So with the animation controller, all it does is allow us to make a list of different types of animation controllers. And what we're gonna add into our enemy AI script is basically connecting to this to get the animator controller off of him. Inside of here, this was a serialized fields. I had this hidden. But again, we run that function that we had inside of our animation controller and it randomly picks one. It'll tell you if there's an error, but essentially I want these enemies to be able to kind of differentiate, so we can have different attack animations or different running animations. For the shaman, you know, obviously he's throwing something, so he's not going to look like he's throwing a smack. So that's what I'm gonna do for them. Let's go ahead back into our Unity project. What do we want to do here? If we already have the animator controller list, we need our enemy AI script. And we're gonna just take this and we're gonna paste it right before our start function, because we technically want this to run first. So right now it doesn't know what that is because I haven't implemented it yet, but I'm gonna take a variable for that. There we go. So we have our animator controller list. We have it in the function now so that it'll actually just run and pick it up. Go ahead and save that. Close, close. We'll keep that open for now. So now let's recompile these. What I'm gonna do is create that animation controller script, scriptable object. So we go animation controllers. We can throw the scriptable object in here, so now we have access to animation controller list, and we'll just call this our animation list. All right, so once we create that, we'll have all of these. So now this is where all those variants of the controllers come in. So what I can do, come inside of my animation. So right now I have 3 different controllers and they're assigned manually. But if I pull them all inside of here, let's see, we'll only have 3 because I only have 3 orc controllers. And then we come here Nope, not you. 1, 2, 3. For the animators, I'm gonna make sure that they are all set to none. And these are our first 3 guys. So what I'll do, pull these guys out, turn these guys off. So then all 3 of these guys, they don't start with 1, but they should, as soon as we start it, let's see, we'll start. They should be automatically assigned different controllers. They did not. Okay, I'm missing something. Let's see here. I don't think I set it up inside of the script yet, so enemy AI. This is here. Let me pull up my other enemy script and let's compare. We have the variable. I don't think I run the function. Yeah, the function's never being called. That's what it is. So technically, in our start function, we should go ahead and just say get animator controller. So we'll let them know, do what you got to do, get what you need, and we'll go from there. Now we should be able to play this correctly. So if we go ahead, let that reload. Give that a minute to compile. I love how long it takes to compile. It's the best thing in the world. All right, so still no controller. Let's actually pause and run this so we can see this stage by stage. All right. And then when that runs, do they still not have an animation controller? What am I missing? Animator controller list. Oh, I never assigned. Wow. You guys got to be careful when you're doing game development stuff because it's as simple as that to mess up. So it's looking for the animation controller list, but I never assigned it. So this is that scriptable object that we made before with all 3 controllers. Now we could go ahead and pause, play the game, and we can see how this works. They all didn't have any. So then animation controller list is there. So he has the orc controller. This one, let me see, let's grab this skinned mesh renderer. That one doesn't have one. That one doesn't have one, but she does. And I only assigned it to her. Okay, but see how they automatically watch when they start running towards me? She has it, but they don't. But she has controller 1. So let me make sure that I have this. Under the enemy AI, we could assign the animation list to all of them. And now, see, none of them have it. No runtime controller, but we pause and play the game. As soon as the first frame runs, we should be able to pick up that. All right, so boom. One has orc controller 2, one has orc controller 2, the other one has orc controller. So ideally, this is more or less if you have like multiple enemies. In this case, I only have 3, so they're not all gonna be too crazy. But now, I'm gonna go ahead and split the game view and the scene view, but when I run it, now they have their animation controls. And then you should see they are gonna attack a little different. Okay, these guys' attacks don't loop, but as you can see, now they're all randomizing on their own thing, which is good. So now we have what? We have 2 different enemies working, 2 different types of enemies. So let's go ahead and let's update our Trello board as well. Yeah, we'll go here. Alright, what are we doing here? Player stats, I don't want to do anything here. So enemy variants, I did have this here. So I guess what I can do, I can make a new card for this. So to do, technically needs improvement. Add this in, so we'll say Shaman Orc. In addition to this, we'll say Warlord Orc. Okay. So those are the only 2 we got going right now. So for the Shaman, we can say inside of here, so the Shaman is able to throw projectiles, but the timing is off. For now, we could leave it at that. That's just telling me that I have an issue with that. So the Shaman is good. Warlord, we could say the same for him. Warlord buffs work. Let me see. What does he need work with, the Warlord? Hey, what's your problem? Barking at people, man. Warlord buffs work. Adjust variables. That would probably be it. For now, enemy variants. Let's go ahead and make a new checklist. We'll just call this enemy types. For right now, we'll throw on the shaman. We'll throw on the warlord. If I could spell, Jesus, you would think as much as I type. The big orc, that's another one. The orc boss, that's the big yellow one that I have. And then the necromancer. So the necromancer I also have kind of working, and we could kind of go over that as well. So for now, I'm going to add this inside of here just for the necromancer. The necromancer is a little different though. So let's see, I can minimize this. Necromancer's there. Goblins. Put you back. Okay, so this would technically be an enemy that is able to spawn other smaller enemies around him. He is working right now, for the most part. Like, I updated his AI, made a whole different script for him as well. We're gonna go over that though. But Necro AI, he's basically using the exact same AI script we have for the game already. Again, just a little different. So right now, the only things that I added to him was another game object for the enemy he's gonna spawn. And then if we come down in here, I know this isn't ideal. This I have to change. But under the attack, I add a new vector 3 for the spawn radius. And I have it randomized between these. So between basically 0 to 5 is how far they could spawn. Between 0 meters and 5 meters from where the necromancer is. Not ideal again. I'm not a professional in any way, just like Amazing B-Hop was saying, but I have it here instantiating 4 different guys with the spawn radius. The only issue I have right now with these guys, let me see, so spawn radius, I could actually remove this because this is what I had it at before. Save that. That's our script. We come back into here, let that reload. So you'll see right now, as far as enemies go, I just have them spawning the goblin. Nothing too complex. Same animation controller. And then you'll see now, if I run, split this in half again. If I run the game, the only issue I'm having with him right now, he's spawning enemies in the same location no matter where he's at. So I gotta fix something with that. So right now you'll see he's coming. As soon as he gets a little closer, boom, enemies right in front of me, right? Group of goblins all spawned. But then, no matter where he is, those enemies are going to spawn in the same area. You'll see another group, another group. I'm going to move him over here. Another group. Same area, so that's another fix that I have to do. But for right now, our necromancer is kind of working. He doesn't have any animations because I do have to... It's a little tougher for him because he's a ghost, so I don't want him to look like he's just swinging his arms, running back and forth like the rest of the goblins. I want this guy to actually look like he's floating. So I know for a fact I have like a horror pack that comes with animations for a floating kind of enemy, so I'm probably going to have to grab that. Other than that, all of our orcs are pretty good to go. All we're doing, a couple fixes for war buff, shaman, obviously, and then necromancer. So then, for now, under the description for the necromancer, I could say spawns enemies, but spawns them in the same location, no matter where he moves. So I know that I gotta come back and fix that eventually. Let me see. Other than that, we can close that. Let me think, what else do we have to do on the board here? Player, animations, shooting. What time do we got? 1:31, hasn't been that long. Been roughly 40 minutes. So we can probably implement shooting then really fast. So let's close that, minimize that. So right now, orcs, necromancer. I'll leave you there. I'll just turn both of y'all off so you guys don't come running at me. I have, let me see. So I've given it a little bit more thought into the game. I've hit, not a roadblock, but more of like an optional block, right? So originally I wanted to have weapons based off of whatever time period that the game took place in. So for like the medieval era, you had like crossbows, swords, and stuff like that. But for a game like this, that doesn't really make as much sense, simply because how would you feel if the entire like medieval period was just all melee stuff, right? So for right now, what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, I have my guns obviously laid out here. There's some pretty simple models. Again, using the Cinti Asset Pass. Thank you, Cinti. Love their packs. They're actually coming out with a new an Elves pack that I just saw. But for right now, these are my kind of just things. Where's my son? Can I angle you a little differently? There we go. So we have a brighter scene. These are just our makeshift weapons, and again, these come from out of the Apocalypse pack that I had. These are our simple weapons. For right now, on our guy, our third person dude, let's save this. Let's go ahead. Let's add shooting. Do we want to do shooting or do we want to do the gun type? So I have two different ideas for how I want to do this. We can either write a script that handles just simple shooting, but the way I wanted it to work in the game, let's see, let's pull this up. So I wanted the player to have options to pick up these weapons, right? So we have a pistol, maybe we have a shotgun, and then an AR, right? So pistol, AR, shotgun. Depending on what the player had, like, collects, I want that to be toggled on. So basically, the player would essentially have all the weapons that they're gonna be able to use in the game, but only one will be toggled on at one time, and I'm pretty sure that's gonna be my pistol. That's gonna be my starting weapon, right? After that, around the map, I want the basically any type of drop, so health, weapons, anything like that to spawn. Especially for the weapons, once the player like touches it, then it'll toggle on and switch automatically to that weapon, and then you'll have like a set clip for that. And if my dogs would stop bark, hey, what's going on? Yeah, isn't that too cool, huh? And you getting bullied? Damn dogs. Anywho, but these are basically our slots. I want the player to be able to pick up a weapon. It'll automatically switch to it. They have like a set magazine, and then from there, kind of game over they go. Or not game over, but they switch back to their original gun. For that, let me see if I have the script. Is it in this project? Let me see. Scripts, player, top down, isometric, gun script. Nope. Miscellaneous, game controller. Nope. Huh, did I really not have it in here? Okay, so I have to do this from scratch. Let's go ahead, let's create a new C# script. Give me a minute. Technically, I'm gonna need to open this up too. Grab that there. And then I think I added this to this. My top-down shooter game, okay. Good. Okay, so that's still there. We have our camera working, so we don't really need any of that. Let me see. That's all we kind of need. Yeah, I think what I'll do, I'm going to go about it using one script that can be interchangeable for almost all weapons. So then what we can go ahead, let's go into our scripts player, and this will be our new C# script. Alright, we'll call this our universal gun script. We'll just call it universal gun. Necro, animator list, and enemy AI. I'm gonna have to change. Go to your cage, Chris. What are you doing out, bro? Jesus, these dogs, all they do is fight. Alright, so we went ahead, created our universal gun script. This is going to be used on every one of our weapons, and there's going to be a bunch of variables that we're going to be able to change. Almost like making a scriptable object. I don't trust myself with scriptable objects as much, so that's what I'm trying to do, as much coding as I could. I trust myself with coding more than I do with scriptable objects. So let me see. For right now, we'll start off with the gun stats. Actually, we'll make a header for this. Header, parenthesis, string, gun stats, not gun script. I think I have to put these in quotation marks too. Boom. Okay. Inside of our gun stats, we're basically gonna have, we'll say public int. We'll do a float. We'll say public float damage. We might have to change this later on though. Public float damage. We'll make a public float for our spread, our range, our reload time. Probably won't need that. Our time between shots, and then time between, if I could spell, between, there we go, time between shooting. And we'll see how this is going to change later. Let's say a public int for the mag size, that can be an int, and then a bullets, why is it doing that? Public int mag size. In addition to the mag size, we'll also say bullets per tap in case we have like a burst fire. A public bool to see if we can allow the player to hold down a button. So that's another option. So some games you have to repeatedly like shoot the trigger, right? This one we might have the option where if it's like an AR and it's not, you know, like a single tap one, we could actually have them hold down the button, so it's like a full auto. And then I guess in addition to that, we'll just make another private int for the bullets left and the bullets shot. And why does it keep doing this? Just say int. Alright. That's good for the gun stats. Let's go ahead, create another header. And for this one, we just call our bools. It's gonna be a little different. I might move that gun stat. Well, no, because that still technically counts as a gun stat. Let's see. We got some bools. If I could spell, we'll have a boolean for shooting, for ready to shoot, and then for reloading. If I could spell. There we go. Boom, reloading. All right, none of these are used yet. Of course, we're gonna implement them later, so that's why they're kind of grayed out. So we have our booleans, and then let me think. We're gonna have to do this, yeah. Say header, and then for this, we could just call our references. And then inside of here, we're gonna need a reference to our camera. This is a third person though, so this might change as well. We're gonna need a public transform. We'll call this our shoot point. So this is where the bullet comes out of. We're gonna need some sort of raycast. Public raycast hit. And we'll just call this ray hit. And then do we want to do a layer mask? I guess it would be ideal to do some sort of layer mask just to help organize the majority of like what we're going to be shooting. So we can go ahead and just call this what is enemy. Alright, that's our layer mask. What we can do next, let's make one last header. This is just to stay organized. We'll do our graphics. Graphics. And then we could go ahead and say public game object. So we'll say our muzzle flash. That's number 1. And I don't think, for now, we'll just leave it at muzzle flash. I know I did implement this one time before, and this was for just a normal first-person shooter game. We don't want to have a bullet hole prefab, basically. So like where the bullet hits. We will be implementing some sort of like shake, but for now we'll just say public text mesh pro GUI text public. There we go. It's not going to know what that is, so what we're going to need to do, generate a class nested type. No, I'm going to come up here and just add in that we're going to be using text mesh pro, so we get access to its namespace. Why isn't this reading? I think this needs to be capitalized. UI. Yeah, text mesh pro. That's why. Missing a letter. Jesus. All right, so those are going to be a majority. We're probably going to be adding to that, but that's going to be just our stuff for there. For now, I'm going to pull this off my other script just because I am running out of time. For our awake method, we're going to have our bullets left set to be whatever the mag size is. Ready to shoot will be true, so we're going to want the player to be ready to shoot, right? After the awake method, what we can say, well, technically this would be the update function, right? Because we want that to be there. So we'll go ahead, come here. For our update function, we haven't written this, so that's not there. We're gonna set our text up, basically saying, you know, whatever our bullets left divided by the mag size, so then it'll show up like your classic shooter. That my input, that's gonna allow us to basically control whether or not that's gonna be a full auto, semi-auto, burst, you know, stuff like that. I'm really gonna have to change all the mag sizes, huh? That's one thing I did. You can kind of avoid that if you don't copy and paste from old scripts. But for my input, it's just gonna check to see if we're allowed to hold that button down. If not, then we're gonna go ahead and do that. So say else. I don't know about you guys, but I like putting my stuff in brackets. So then what I can do, just, there we go. Same down here. Take our shooting statement. Yeah, I really don't like having that put out like that. So if allow hold is on, then it's going to go ahead and allow us to hold that mouse down. If not, it's going to do something different. So this we're single shooting, this we're holding. Same thing down here. That can stay like that. That's going to be our reload function. So if we go to press R, and our bullets left is less than the mag size, and we're not already reloading, so we don't want to double reload, we're just going to go ahead and run that reload function, which we will be doing shortly. Let me see. In addition to that, if we're ready to shoot, and we're shooting already, and we're not reloading, and our bullets left is greater than 0, then our bullet shot is going to be equal to, well, I think we changed that as well, our bullets per tap. It is not, just spelled it wrong. Bullets per tap. So that's going to allow us, you know, that burst files, single file, double file, whatever. Reloading and shooting. So shooting would be next. Come down here. There we go. Our shooting is a little bit different. Again, there's going to be a lot of things that I do inside of here that are changed from my last script. For right now, let me think. We're not going to implement the camera shake yet. And for the bullet hole, we're not going to have that because technically we're already third person, so we're not going to be able to see that. For the attack point, we'll change that to shoot point. There we go. We can keep this like this for now. Since we're raycasting and not actually shooting out projectiles, this might prove to be a little harder. So let me think. So we're technically raycasting out of our camera. That might need to change. But for right now, instead of shooting AI, we're just gonna have it read enemy AI, because that's what we have. Technically, this should be enemy stats. And then we're gonna take damage, because we already have that implemented. But overall, checking, this is just a shooting function. We're gonna obviously add some spread. So like more or less for like the shotguns and stuff. ARs at a longer range. We have that graphic, so we're gonna still see that muzzle flash. Bullets left is gonna go down, and bullet shot is gonna go down while we're doing this. Other than that, the last technically like 3 chunks that we're gonna need for this is a little bit of a longer code. If that's our shooting, then we're gonna come down here. We're gonna have our reset shot, so that's basically coming right after we reload, so we're ready to shoot. Let me see, Shift S, there we go. When reloading, we're just reloading is true, and we're invoking this once we're done. So depending on the reload time, once we're done reloading, we're just gonna go ahead and do this. We're gonna update our bullets left to the actual mag size, reloading set back to false. So some of this is gonna be a little different because I am working with like that third person gun. So what I wanna do, this is good to go. Yeah, that's a lot. I'll probably have this linked in my Discord as I do the rest of the tutorials and scripts. So if you want to save yourself some hard trouble, make sure you join the Discord down in the description. The link should be down there. Oh, I love the planes. I just love living by a actual airport. It's the best. We'll give this a minute to reload. We're gonna apply this to one of our guns. For right now, that will be this. So then what we can do is add the universal gun. Universal gun. We're gonna have a bunch of stuff. So see, that's where those headers came into work, because now we actually know what's gonna be what. Let me think. For a simple shooter, let me think here. Because we don't have the camera shake. It would be kind of cool to have that camera shake though implemented. But if this is going to be a machine gun, what we can do, we'll set the damage to be like a 20. Spread, say 0.05. The range. Actually, do we want the spread that low? Do a little less. The range, I guess we can do like 50 meters. Reload time for this, we'll say, is about 2 seconds. Time between shots, we'll say, is 0, so it's automatic. Time between shooting, we'll say 0.05, something super low. For the mag size, we could just say 30. Bullets per tap, 1. Allow hold, yes. Our camera, we're just going to call our top-down camera. For this, we're going to have to add a shoot point. So let me see. Click away, click, weapons, hybrid. Let's create a new empty game object, and we call this our shoot point. We'll give this a visual tag so we can actually see it. Is there something smaller? No, they're all pretty big. Okay. So then W. Let's move you up because you're gonna click every one spot. Figured. Move you back. Yeah, this is where it gets a little messy. So it doesn't have to be exact. Again, this is a third-person shooter, so I'm never really gonna see where this comes out of, but just for the sake of it, it's there. So we can drag in our shoot point. What is enemy? We can make a new tag for that. Add a layer. Let's call this enemies. Come back to hybrid. And then we'll say enemy. Muzzle flash we'll leave done. Text we'll leave done for now. So then technically, let me see if this will work. Create a 3D object. Nope, not a sphere. Definitely don't want a sphere. Uh-oh, and we just deleted the gun. Delete that. Add a 3D object cube so that we could actually see this shoot. This will be like our firing range, I guess. I just want to be able to see if these are doing damage or not. If anything, there might just be a part 2 to this tutorial. We could go ahead and play the game. See, hopefully we don't get any like major errors and we'll be okay. But that's for that gun. Did I turn my camera off? Oh geez, and everyone just spawned on me. So you can go. Where's my necromancer? All right, stop. Just stop altogether. Turn this off, or back on technically. Turn these off. We don't want any of you on because we want to be able to test this. So come in, play the game. All right. So like I said, since this is a top-down shooter, that camera is probably going to be an issue for us, but we'll see. All right, universal gun, muzzle flash has not been assigned, and there's an error with the text. Okay, so then what we could do is just take that out for now because we're not testing the text. And same with the muzzle flash. So line 39. I wonder why the muzzle flash gave us an error, but not that. All right. Huh. Is it shooting? Is my question. It doesn't look like it is. Let's see, weapon hybrid. We're able to hold too, right? Should not be capturing when there is hot control. Okay, that's fine. That's not us. GUI processing. Alright, stop. What is going on with our gun here? So then what we can do, just for now, what needs to be set? The muzzle flash and the text. So then both of those we'll just remove for now. Muzzle flash and text. So we'll just cross those out because we don't have those ready yet. Okay, and we'll cross you out because apparently we don't like headers. Minimize. Let's see if this fixes it. If not, then what we're going to do is probably continue this in our second episode. Try this one last time. Fix all compile errors. What? Oh. There we go. Okay. Muzzle flash does not exist. Variable result. That's for our animator. That's fine. Okay. Let's give this a shot. Play the game. And if not, we'll stop there. No, doesn't look like it's shooting at all. Is it because I don't have it equipped on the player? No, yeah, it's not shooting, huh? Let me see. Can we debug? We'll leave it at that for now. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's been it for today. We got a majority of our stuff done. We ended up getting our... got our enemy variants, I should say. After our enemy variants, we kind of made a couple new updates to the game overall. Like I said, in the next lesson, what we'll probably do, our next video, we'll probably fix these guns. So I definitely want to get the gun shooting before we move forward with everything. But other than that, thank you so much for everyone joining in today, man. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe, and join the Discord if you want to kind of follow along with some of the scripts I have. Stay up to date with everything. But other than that, I will see you guys all in the next stream. Peace.